Hello, potassium people. Welcome back to another Banana Bites, where I'm going to be eating this banana in the hopes that Valve takes a chuckle at this and says, hey, let's go ahead and add the strange second banana today. But I want to talk a little bit about nostalgia and just like how the mind operates with memories. In fact, as a little example, I have this putty here. This is a universal dust cleaner, and this is unopened, just so you know. This bad boy is used to clean up gunk in cars, electronics, although from what I've known with this product, I wouldn't necessarily use it with electronics unless you're okay with like a tiny minuscule amount of moisture. But I will say this. Whenever you take it out and you use it, it changes. It becomes a little dirty. It becomes a little less clean, right? Whereas when you first open it up, it's pristine, looks perfect. And in a way, it's kind of how memories are, is when you first have your experience, that is the most pure representation of that specific moment, is that first memory. And then every time you revisit it, you have little things that are added to that memory or that change with it. Whether you're feeling upset one day, so you look back on a good memory, and all of a sudden, wow, life was better back then, wasn't it? Even if things were just as bad, it's just you're focusing on one specific part that you really enjoyed. Or you're having a really good day, and you look back on a bad moment, it's like, wow, things were terrible. Like, it was the worst experience of my life. But who knows? Maybe there was a worse experience before that, or you're going to have something worse soon. Hopefully not, but that's just how life goes, right? And in a way, it's almost like we're all bananas. We get spots, we learn, we grow, and as we move along in life, the nostalgia that we have for something, it morphs a little bit. It morphs into something greater than it once was, because as we develop, as we learn, as we become new people, new bananas, sweeter over time, it suddenly begins to adapt to an ideal. Nostalgia, right? The ideal experience. I remember this with Gauntlet. I think it's Gauntlet Dark Legacy or something on the N64. Had a super fun time with my cousin back in the day playing through that game. Smash Brothers is another good game. TF2, I know a lot of people have nostalgia for that. I still have some for that game. Although, because I've been able to play recently, I don't really have the same nostalgia goggles that I would have if I had left it off to the side and just didn't touch it for a long time, right? So, basically, because when we visit memories, we shape them into what we desire in a way, it becomes slightly finer tuned. It means nostalgia is this great force that drives us to seek experiences that maybe never existed, that only ever existed in the mind, because we're seeking what we think it was, rather than what it is. When I went to go play Gauntlet again recently, I'd say like a year ago, it was not as fun as I remember it being when I was like 8 or 7. It was much more jank and rudimentary. The gameplay wasn't as deep and detailed as I thought, with barbarians and knights, characters of that caliber. It wasn't as medievally fantastical as I once remembered. And sadly, that's abused. That's abused by corporations and tech companies and all these places that just want you to remember the good times, even if it wasn't exactly like that. But if you buy the product, oh, you'll have the same experience. but it never lives up. Or rather, most of the time, it doesn't live up to that grandiose idea. I think that's good. It's good to get a little rooted back into reality from something like that. It's good to realize that a lot of these people, a lot of these companies, they are not doing it to help you rekindle the spark that you think you lost. No, they're just in it for the money. But you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that I am able to recognize that, because I'm becoming more ripe, and in a way, a very small, minuscule way, I am glad that Valve hasn't added the strange second banana, because I am able to remember exactly how banana tastes every single day. And so I don't have to worry about nostalgia. Not in the same way, at least. Not with bananas. They are just so perfect. So, with all that said, Valve should still add the strange second banana. And again, the idea of being grateful for them not adding is very, very small. In fact, maybe that's a bit of nostalgia just because it's been so many days of eating bananas. I think my obsession has gotten worse. This is really good. Oh my gosh. This is really good today. Maybe I'm just more hungry than usual. Well, potassium people, that's it. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.